I thought I was living a fairy tale, married to the woman of my dreams for 5 blissful years. That illusion didn't just crack. It shattered into a million pieces the day she walked back into our home. Not alone, but pregnant with another man's child, and with her first love Sam in tow. My wife Diana had been on a 6-month business trip, and she returned not just with baggage, but with a betrayal so brazen it stole my breath. She was already over 3 months pregnant. And then, with an audacity that still makes my blood run cold, Diana looked at me in my house and said Sam's life was difficult, that he needed to stay with us just temporarily. Temporarily. In my home after this, I refused, of course, the words barely out of my mouth before Diana snapped back, her tone laced with disgust, telling me not to be ungrateful. Ungrateful. It was a moment of stark clarity, a jolt of ice water. She spoke as if she'd forgotten this magnificent mansion was my property, built with my hard work, and that her entire family had been living off my resources for years. In that instant, something inside me fundamentally shifted. The generosity, the endless support, it all vanished. I smiled a cold, hard smile and reached for my phone. "Get my assistant on the line," I said, my voice betraying none of the earthquake raging within. "Draw up divorce papers. Immediately." A woman who married into wealth, daring to bring her affair openly into my home? This was the final unforgivable insult. Just that morning, I had been eagerly anticipating Diana's return. 6 months felt like an eternity. I'd arranged all the little souvenirs I'd collected for her from various places, tiny tokens of my enduring love. I even asked Mrs. Wilson, our housekeeper, to prepare a table laden with all her favorite dishes, a feast to welcome her home. The front door swung open and there she was, my wife. But she wasn't alone. Her arm was wrapped possessively around her ex-boyfriend, Sam. My heart stopped. Shock, raw and brutal, coursed through me. Sam, with a vicious smirk that I'll never forget, walked towards me, his eyes gleaming. "Liam, long time no see," he purred. It was a casual greeting that felt like a punch to the gut. As my gaze fell to Diana's visibly pregnant stomach, a wave of pure, unadulterated anger surged through me, hot and stinging. Sam, ever the manipulator, seemed to notice my shifting emotions. He quickly moved to my side, gently clutching my wrist, his voice dripping with false sweetness. "Liam, please don't be upset. This is all my fault. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Please don't hurt Diana." His simple, rehearsed words hit me like a thunderbolt. Not because they were apologetic, but because they confirmed everything. I hadn't even said a word, and he had revealed it all. Diana, meanwhile, watched my reaction, poised to rush in and protect Sam at any moment, like a lioness guarding her cub. My fists clenched so tightly my knuckles turned white. I glared at her, my voice tight with suppressed rage. "Aren't you going to explain?" After I spoke, she sighed, a put-upon, exasperated sound, and turning her gaze back to Sam, gently said, "Let me take you to choose a room first. I'll handle this." Her gentle tone, her protective stance towards him, stunned me into silence. In our 5 years of marriage, she had never spoken to me like that. Not once. Under my watchful, disbelieving gaze, she supported Sam as they walked upstairs. Then the driver brought in 3 large suitcases. 3. It seems Sam hadn't just come for a visit. He'd moved half his life into my house. And though Sam looked perfectly healthy, probably healthier than me, Diana protected him as if he were a delicate doll. I collapsed onto the sofa, the plush cushions offering no comfort, waiting for Diana to settle her lover and offer me some semblance of an explanation. The sound of their irritating laughter drifting down from upstairs was like a nail on a chalkboard, pushing me to the brink. I was about to rush up there to confront them when the doorbell rang again. Diana's parents stormed in, their faces grim, not even acknowledging me as they quickly rushed upstairs. I followed them, drawn by a morbid curiosity, and heard Diana's hushed, sincere voice pulling her parents aside. "I didn't mean to hide this from you. My pregnancy is unstable in the early stages and I was afraid something might go wrong. I hope you can understand. Sam and I love each other, and the baby in my belly is your grandchild after all. Please don't blame him." I thought about the 5 years of our marriage. Whenever I had disagreements with her mother, Diana would always say that her mother was old, that I should be more patient. She had never stood up for me. I always thought that was just her personality, her gentle nature. It wasn't until that moment, seeing her protect Sam at every turn, that I realized the sickening truth. I had been a fool, a blind, idiotic fool all along. Sam chimed in, holding Diana's mother's hand, oozing false sincerity. "I didn't intentionally try to ruin Diana's marriage. We truly love each other. I hope you can understand, Uncle and Aunt." Diana's mother's frown gradually relaxed, her eyes darting towards me, standing in the doorway. I knew what she was thinking. For the past 5 years, I had been transferring living expenses to her every month. Anyone could see that Sam's financial situation couldn't hold a candle to mine. My heart sank, a heavy leaden weight. Diana, my wife, had not only failed to give me a heads up about this whole monstrous situation, but she had publicly humiliated me in my own home. Did she really think I had no temper? No self-respect? Seeing the silence in the room, Diana's eyes suddenly reddened, and she began to sob, the practiced tears flowing freely. The child in my womb is innocent. No matter what, I will give birth to him. You can scold me all you want, but I hope my child won't be harmed. Large, glistening teardrops rolled down Diana's cheeks. She looked utterly pitiful to anyone who saw her, a true actress. Sam, playing his part perfectly, wiped away the tears from the corners of Diana's eyes, a pained expression on his face. Her voice, now filled with resentment, chimed in. Mom, answer her quickly. You know pregnant women need to maintain stable emotions. After our wedding, Diana's parents had immediately started pressuring us to have a child. For 5 years we kept trying, and I knew Diana's parents had said many unkind things behind my back, all focused on the issue of continuing the family line. Diana's father, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up, his voice resonating with authority. After all, Diana is carrying our foster family's descendant. Everyone should try to control their tempers for the next few months. As soon as he finished speaking, all eyes turned to me. They looked like a united front, a wall against me, and for a moment I truly felt like I was the outsider in my own home. I couldn't help but let out a cold, humorless laugh. Doesn't anyone want to ask for my opinion? Seeing my displeasure, Sam angrily stepped in front of Diana, his face contorted. Liam, are you deaf? We've told you everything to your face. What more do you want to know? I couldn't help but laugh again, a bitter cold sound. My wife had been on a business trip for 6 months and came back with such a grand surprise for me. Not only did she not offer any explanation face to face, but she had the audacity to take this commanding, indignant tone with me. Seeing that I remained silent, Diana started crying again, tugging at Sam's wrist as she sobbed. If Liam is really angry, maybe I should leave. Diana's mother was instantly displeased when she heard this and immediately responded. You're carrying our foster family's grandchild, how could we let you leave? After saying this, Sam glared at me, his eyes spitting venom, and sneered. Say something. Look how scared you've made Diana. Diana is carrying my child after all. If you have any objections, you can only take them out on me privately. I won't allow you to hurt her. Then with a flourish, Sam urgently pulled Diana's wrist, his voice trembling with false emotion. Diana, please, I think this is going too far. Maybe I should leave. I don't want to cause problems between you. He looked at me, his eyes watery, as if he were about to burst into tears, like a soap opera actress in his big moment of suffering. All I could feel was a sickening mix of disgust and pure rage. Diana, as always, was quick to console him, wrapping him in a protective embrace and murmuring words I couldn't quite hear, but that clearly reassured him. For a moment I stood absolutely still, watching this pathetic, sickening scene unfold in my own house, where they dared to challenge and humiliate me so openly. But a cold, almost calculating feeling took hold of me. I had nothing more to say to them. Inside me, however, a clear, unshakable decision had formed. This would be the last day that Diana and her beloved Sam would step foot in my home without my permission. I had endured too much. Watching her defend him, willing to treat me as an obstacle, as a stranger, was the final excruciating blow. I turned on my heel, a new determination setting my jaw, and went straight to my office. I picked up the phone and called my lawyer. I needed to act quickly, decisively, before the charade of Sam and Diana became even more unbearable. I quickly explained what was happening, the humiliations I had endured, and he reassured me immediately. Everything was in my name, the house, the accounts, the assets. I already knew that, of course, but hearing it from someone trustworthy, someone on my side, gave me renewed confidence. As I spoke with him, I heard footsteps behind me. Diana had come downstairs, probably puzzled by my sudden disappearance. Not bothering to hide the disdain in her voice, she asked, "What are you doing, Sam? Are you going to run away from the conversation again?" I looked at her with a calmness that I believe surprised her. I ended the call and slowly, deliberately, put the phone in my pocket. I stood up, taking a deep breath, while she continued to look at me with that air of superiority, as if she had won some kind of battle. Diana, I began, my voice firm, steady. You accused me of running, but honestly the only one running here is you. You ran from our marriage, from any respect we once had for each other, and now you have the audacity to come back pregnant and bring another man into my house as if I'm just an observer in your life. She laughed, a harsh, dismissive sound. Liam, do you really think you can intimidate me with those words? Sam and I have history. What do we have? Money. Security. Do you think just because you've paid the bills all these years you can control me? She seemed utterly convinced she was in control, that her stance made her the master of the situation. But I knew it was all a fragile facade. Diana kept talking, but I stopped listening. I walked to the front door, opened it with a determined gesture, indicating she should leave. This isn't an invitation, Diana. It's a warning. Take your things, his bags, and leave now. I'll send you the divorce papers as soon as possible. And let your family know as well. They won't see another cent from me. Her expression shifted dramatically from superiority to surprise, and then finally to panic. She hesitated, trying to regain control of the situation. Liam, you're overreacting. You wouldn't do something like this. You wouldn't be that low. I smiled, a smile she had never seen before. A chilling, triumphant smile. Oh, Diana, you have no idea what I'm capable of. All these years I stood by your side, enduring every snide comment from your mother, every thinly veiled humiliation. But I held on to hope that one day you'd see the value in what we built together. Now, it's clear you never respected me. She tried to argue, to plead, but was interrupted when Sam came down the stairs, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. He realized something had fundamentally changed, that I was no longer the submissive husband, ready to forgive everything. He placed a protective hand on her belly, as if I were a threat to the baby. Diana, I think it's best if we leave, he said with a false sweetness, trying to calm the situation. Yes, I think that's best, I replied, looking him directly in the eyes, making it clear that I was no longer fooled by his pathetic act. You have until the end of the day to leave. Consider this my last gesture of kindness. Sam looked at me with pure hatred, but I remained firm, unwavering. They left the room and I stayed where I was, watching as she gathered their bags and helped Sam. Pride wounded, and without another word to me, they walked out. The house, which had been the setting for so many memories, good and bad, was finally free of that oppressive weight, that suffocating falseness. When the door closed, I felt a wave of relief wash over me, immense and cleansing, and at the same time a deep sadness. But it wasn't for Diana. It was for the time, the energy, the love I had devoted to someone who never truly saw me, someone who never truly deserved me. I called my lawyer again, informing him of Diana's departure, and instructing him to proceed with the divorce immediately. That night I sat alone at the dining table, but for the first time in years I was in peace. As I ate, I thought about the future, about all I still had to rebuild for myself. I decided in that moment that I would never again allow anyone to treat me the way Diana had, and that I would always stand firm, no matter the relationship. After that night, when Diana and Sam finally left my house, an unexpected calm washed over me. For the first time in years, I felt fully in control of my life, my decisions, and above all, how I would respond to everything they had put me through. But that feeling alone wasn't enough. I knew they had escaped the situation too easily, with no real sense of the weight of their choices. It was an open wound, and I couldn't let it go unanswered. In the days that followed, I stayed in constant contact with my lawyer to expedite the divorce process. The house, the bank accounts, Diana's assets. They were all intertwined with mine in such a way that with a single signature, she would lose almost everything. 4 years she had grown accustomed to the luxury, the trips, the meals prepared by renowned chefs. A life she only had because she was with me. Now that privilege was about to disappear, and I would make sure she felt it deeply. The first news I received was that she was desperate, frantically trying to find a place to live with Sam. They had moved into a small, cramped apartment in the suburbs, a very different area from what Diana was used to. Sam, of course, was not at all pleased with their new reality. He had come to destroy my marriage, thinking he would take my place, but all he achieved was sharing the rent for a modest space with a woman whose life had just been upended. Diana was also having issues at work. With the divorce, I decided to cut off all associations and contacts she had gained through me. I informed everyone in our business network about the separation, and made it unequivocally clear she no longer represented my company in any way. The impact was immediate. Diana lost access to the connections, clients, and influence network I had built with great effort. Now she was just another face in the crowd. By the way, if you're still with me and can't believe what I went through, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the ending to this wild ride. For me, these steps were necessary but not quite enough. I wanted Diana and Sam to feel the real weight of the choices they had made, so I decided to act more directly. I hired a private investigator to document their life in that apartment. It wasn't long before I received a full report. Sam and Diana were constantly fighting. He was frustrated with his new life, complaining bitterly about the lack of money, the conditions of their place, and most of all, how she couldn't support him in the lavish lifestyle he believed he deserved. The photos the investigator sent me were living proof that their dream was crumbling, rotting away day by day. But the final piece of my revenge was yet to come. Through my remaining contacts in the industry, I managed to get a job offer to reach Sam. It was an assistant position in a small, struggling company, the type of job that, for someone like him, felt almost humiliating. It was exactly what I wanted. Sam, ever hopeful of climbing some non-existent ladder, accepted the job, thinking that eventually he could rise through the ranks and regain the lifestyle he longed for. Diana, with no other options, also had to accept a job far below what she was used to. She started working at a mid-sized company, but her reputation was already tarnished. People saw her as someone who had married for money and was now broke, struggling to keep up appearances. One day, I decided to confront them personally but in a roundabout way. I knew where they usually had lunch, a small unremarkable restaurant near Sam's office. So I walked in unexpectedly, knowing they would be there. The stares around me were inevitable. I approached their table with a wide, innocent smile on my face, noticing the immediate discomfort in their expressions. "Diana, Sam," I greeted them, as if we were old friends and absolutely nothing had happened between us. They stayed silent, visibly uncomfortable, their faces paling. "Liam, we don't need to do this here," Diana muttered, her voice barely a whisper, visibly embarrassed by the public spectacle. Ignoring her comment entirely, I continued, my voice sweet, dripping with feigned concern. "I just wanted to see how you're doing. I heard life has changed quite a bit these past few months." I made sure to look them both up and down slowly, deliberately, noting their simple, worn clothes and generally disheveled appearance. Sam tried desperately to maintain his composure, but it was clear my presence disturbed him deeply. He replied, trying to keep his dignity intact, "We're fine, Liam. In the end, I guess everyone got what they wanted here." I let out a soft, almost imperceptible laugh, a sound filled with pure irony. "Oh, of course. At least I'm living in peace. I just wanted to wish you both happiness. Enjoy every moment of this new life you've built together." I smiled, a look of unadulterated satisfaction, and turned on my heel, leaving them with their half-eaten plates and their mediocre, miserable life. At that moment I felt truly gloriously free. They were trapped in a life of their own making. A gilded cage turned into a rusty trap, and there was nothing more I needed to do to worsen their situation. Diana had traded the security and comfort she had with me for an illusion, a hollow fantasy. And Sam, who thought he would effortlessly take my place, was now stuck in a reality with no luxury, no stability, and none of the respect he thought he deserved. I returned home with a sense of satisfaction I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Every detail of this revenge was planned so they would face the consequences of their actions on their own terms, without me lifting a direct finger against them. I simply let life take its course while I, on the other hand, rebuilt my peace and freedom. In the months that followed, I began investing in myself. I took up old hobbies, traveled to places I had always wanted to visit, and started exploring new business opportunities. The life I built was finally free of any shadows from the past. And as for Diana and Sam, I heard that their relationship didn't last long. Sam, utterly unsatisfied and frustrated, eventually left Diana, leaving her exactly as she had started, with nothing and no one. When I heard about their inevitable end, I simply smiled to myself. They had sown their own seeds and now, finally, they were reaping the bitter fruits of their decisions. As for me, I finally felt like I truly closed that painful chapter of my life. What would you have done in my place, faced with such a brazen betrayal? I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below.